just saw the overall leaderboards coming into this game, and I don't think any of these teams are decisively in that top five. So everybody does have to play well and consistent throughout this day. We saw there's only about a 51-point difference between first and fifth place. So we know that we've seen some big elimination games over the course of all three of these regions. So any team really has the possibility of making a huge point swing in their favor to kind of secure that top five position, Panda.
Yeah, and it's funny, right? We just got done commentating over MENA region, which had a very, very different story. That top spot was essentially solidified from the moment that you and I walked into the story, right?
Yep.
However, here, that is not the case. No one has this clear path to victory, and I think that's what I love about EU. EU is just a group of individuals that are just so talented and so skilled, and they understand how to play, navigate, and adapt to these high-pressure situations continuously. And that's why this region often is referred to as the best, because they just always come to show up and showcase the talent that they truly have.
Yeah, exactly. So much talent in this lobby. You know, we have some very high-profile player names, and as we can see, one of those high-profile player names, Andretta, actually looks like he is going to be knocked very, very early on. You know, we saw yesterday, actually, towards the end of the day, Andretta made a switch up from Sleepy Sound over here to Coney Crosswords, probably because of the presence of this tank. Him and his duo, Tripper, actually looking to see if they can get some early control over this tank. And, you know, Tripper actually was in the driver's seat right there, but him and Cry here actually making a quick swap. Tripper hops out of that driver's seat. Now he's going to be in that turret seat. Cry's duo actually on top of this building. Sido, who's going to be taking some early shots here from the turret. He's going down to 5 HP. No, he actually gets knocked. Tripper, though, down to 9 HP. An interesting strategy from Cry here was actually using the tank to shoot the building, and explosive damage was actually hurting the player that was in the turret seat. So Tripper and Ninja out early here. Cry, though, is aware that there is another player. He is looking, and Scry actually not interested at all, but no, he's going to be found out. Going to use that tank to barrage right into that building, and boom, there you have it. Cry, 4 eliminations and tank control in the early game out of Coney.
You know, the crazy thing is, I feel like Andretta and Tripperin weren't having a bad game plan leading up to this moment, right? So for them to switch and end up going there, it doesn't fully make sense to me. But obviously, there's something in the mindset of what they're doing. There's got to be a reason as to why they made that switch. So we'll see how that continues to unfold. But speaking of things that are unfolding, it's Command Cavern. We've often talked about how this is the premier POI of the space, and we know for good reason why. These players are walking in to fights left and right. And speaking of the fight, it's Malibuca Mustache. This is that powerhouse team we talked about that has reversed the negative momentum from day one, and they are here to qualify. They continue to show up and show us why they are such a dominant team in the EU.
Yeah, you got to be careful when you're landing around players like that, just hiding behind that box as a duo. That unsuspecting duo just literally walking right in and giving those free eliminations. And another one of these instances, Alex JJ hiding out in this bush. Only has that combat SMG though from Rain, so it does get some little bit of chip damage, but not too much. And that player that he was landing some shots on is going to be just fine. As you can see, his duo, Niels, actually off in the distance, does have that burst rifle. As we check out what's going on over at the Daily Bugle, looks like Solary Maggle here is going to be in the tank, but his duo is down, so Nipsey and Coop going to be looking to take that driver out as Nipsey hops into the turret seat. We have seen multiple situations where this turret does mad damage to the driver. And you can see here, Maggle does get to disengage away with that shockwave grenade.
Does, and honestly, again, speaks to the value in having that shockwave nade. Fortunately for Maggie, he's going to find not only more of them, but also a really nice spot to hide because his teammate is out. Niacin is down right now and now fully eliminated here by Nipsey. So he's going to have to be patient. He's going to want to get his teammate back into the fold, but it's not going to be easy to accomplish. But as I looked into the elimination feed there, it looks like Vidil has taken out Mustache. So the story of Command Cavern continues as Vidil and Noah Riley, they are in the vault, and Malibuca up on the blimp still, but now by himself.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Malibuka and Mercedes do have 2 early eliminations, which we saw develop earlier. And Noah Riley and Video actually making an early rotation, it seems, out of the Cavern. We have seen them actually hang around this POI for a majority of the game, usually backed up into the vault, right? We saw multiple scenarios where were up against Blast and Co. But now they are going to make that early rotation, but proving that they are kind of unaware of the possibilities, right? They do quickly run into a team that is kind of set up on that hill. So now they're actually going to double back. Not very interested in going right at Steno, who has proven that he can lay down some shots. First game of the day, though, you know, a little rusty. Maybe he's got to warm up a little bit. And Vidil and O'Reilly, listen, like I said, they're going to make their way right back to the Cavern where they know kind of what's going on. They do love to just hang out there. But interesting enough, I didn't see a Nas and Pink over at the Cavern. And as we're looking here at Steno's and Lush's POE, we can see them off in the distance. So I'm not sure where they landed. Maybe they did still land at the Cavern and made an early rotation out, but they are looking healthy. So good for a Nas and Pink.
Yeah, definitely good for them. Maybe they decide to switch it up. You know, that's the thing about multi-day formats like this. When you have some time off to kind of review what was taking place in the tournament up until that point and make some adjustments, we do often see teams decide, you know what, maybe this POI is not worth it. It's not worth us fighting over, especially when you're a team like Pink and Anasu infamously hold it down to 1 POI, but with 0 builds, you can't really control the outcome as much. It is more of a 50-50 fight there in the early game and who truly has the better aim. So decisions like this to switch things up make a lot of sense, but things that don't make a lot of sense for Pink and Anas is them trying to almost push into another team. I don't know if they knew that Babacola was there, but they found out real quick.
Yeah, quick engage from them. Going to be driving their truck straight down the hill. And listen, Panta, we did just come off of 2 hot games of Mena, where we saw almost no vehicle play, but already here in the early game, we're seeing Babacola, they have a truck of their own, and then Pink and Anas obviously making some early game rotations in their very own truck. And listen, this is what we were saying, you know, these other regions outside of Mena, they love to just hang out in their vehicles where they are safe and just kind of wait for the next zone. Whereas we saw so much aggression from the Mena region. So 2 different dynamics cross region here happening as we see that the zone pulls towards the northern region. So the people over here at the Cavern are going to be kind of happy about that. They will not have a far distance to travel, and Pink and Anas are actually going to look for a re-engage. They want to go back up this hill, but they know that Babacola was up here. Babacola interested in maybe leaving. No, they're going to go right back up here, and Anas and Pink are going to drive right up here. We could see an early game fight. No, Babacola and Co. not interested. Neither are Anas and Pink in a quick engage, driving straight down the hill to make sure that nothing crazy goes down in the early game.
You know, it's funny. We've seen these players, again, come close to one another, and then Pink and Anas just disengage, right? So I feel like they're looking for a good hill to be on, and then every time they look for a hill, just naturally Babacola and Co., they're there. They said, you know what? We already know that we need to be here. We're just going to go ahead and rotate early. And unfortunately for Pink and Anas, they're going to be forced off and forced to find another place to hide and keep that truck alive. But if they're not careful, there are still quite a few players in this region, and it looks like another team in logjam. These teams need to start moving soon too, because that zone will be closing in shortly. And once it does, the last thing you need to do is find yourself in it.
Yeah, definitely do not want to get caught in this storm, but we've seen it work out multiple times for some teams. It is a little bit of a surprise when a team does rotate in from the storm, right? In typical Battle Royale Fortnite action, we like to see a lot of teams make those early rotations because they can set up with the builds that they have gathered. As we can see, Babacola lands a beautiful heavy sniper shot onto the player down there at the gas station. Going to make that player think twice about peeking out. And the Anvil rocket launcher, going to go ahead and say, hey, listen, be careful, as he does land that onto the vehicle. So if that vehicle was looking like Gabix's kind of out, and that is no longer going to be possible. As we can see, Vidil actually takes out Malibuka in the elimination feed.
Wow, that's a huge pickup. we talked about the powerhouse team of Malibuca and Merstache for quite a bit, but game one of the day is not going in their favor. They've both been eliminated relatively early in the game. It's only the second zone, meaning that they were unable to probably pick up too many points. We obviously saw them get a few eliminations there, but that's not a lot to work with. And also, looking in the elimination feed, it's on Hydra has gone down. One of our top teams there going down way earlier than they would like. So this leaderboard is just continuing to open up for other players that are interested in taking it.
And speaking about how that leaderboard stands, we are tuned in to our first place team right now, Kovacs and Z-Rock. You have a little bit of a lead, but nothing to kind of shout about. Coming into these games today, they still do have to play consistently because, as we mentioned before, the leaderboard is very, very tight to the point where you cannot be lackluster, as Noah finds himself in the storm against Scram here. They are going to be facing off. Both of them have combat SMGs trading shots. Scram is currently winning out, but no, Noah is no longer interested. Scram has no idea where this player went, but I think the Chug Splashes are going to reveal that position, and Noah is actually going to be making a play for the revive maybe, but Scram is going to be made well aware of this. Scram now pushing in, does have that combat SMG in hand, has taken a lot of damage. Noah is back up to full HP, and yeah, that great find there on the angle makes quick work of Scram. 2 eliminations now for Noah and a stock.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's a really solid start, especially considering from past games, we've watched them actually play out the heal off, and clearly they've decided to shy away from that strategy going forward, but it did work out very well for them in one of the games prior. So we could see them, now that they're getting some elimination points on the board, if they have a good game here, they could revert back over to that heal off strategy, because they just kind of need to balance between the two, right? They need some eliminations, they need good games, but it's honestly probably a lot easier for them as well as other players to heal off versus trying to go up against the likes of players like Andalix and Nikov, who just continually beam the other players remaining in the lobby.
Yeah, we've had this conversation multiple times up there. These players, they can aim, so it is scary, right? When we don't have those builds that you can just instantly place up. If you get caught out in the open, you will almost guaranteed take damage, as Nikov and Analyx are kind of feeling that wrath of Jolov in the tank, but they are safe. They do make it over to the building, and they do have these kegs that they will most likely use to replenish those shields that they just lost. And you know, we actually saw one of these zones yesterday where Logjam was in play, but a lot of these wooden structures, even the trees, the grass, land, the buildings, you know, if any of these vehicles get blown up, they do start a fire. And because of the layout of a zone like this, it can be very detrimental to any of those natural, you know, uses of cover that you are using to kind of hide, because it all being on fire is not ideal. As we can see, Noah Riley and Vidil using their Rift to go. I kind of like that usage. I don't even think they used it to kind of escape a fight. I think they just straight up used it to actually make a rotation into the logjam and get a very good position. So actually opting for kind of the first use of it, where we've seen just a simple rotation, as Vidil actually finding out that there is a duo. It's actually Baba Cola, Noah Riley, and Vidil taking some early damage here, and there you go. They're going to use the second Rift to go shortly after, but they got to be careful, because you saw Vidil took a lot of damage. He is going to be up in the sky, not full shield. And I think as we tuned in for just a split second, that he was actually taking some shots. Vidil down to 40 HP. Babacola looking for the angle again, and no, Noah Riley and Vidil going to be safe in the other building close by.
Yeah, I mean, look, finding these existing structures is going to be key to the success of these players that continue to remain. But when there's a large amount of players in a region, like we've seen in Logjam time and time again throughout these EU games, it's tough, right? You kind of have to make the active decision to stay away. I feel like that's part of the reason we see players like Bad Sniper there in the distance, because it's just, in their mind, it's not worth trying to go and take any of this existing cover, because they know there are just players on top of players hiding out in these buildings. But players that aren't hiding out, Cammy and Seti, there they are with the tank on the high ground, just pressuring these players like we've seen them do time and time again. But actually a really interesting strategy here from them. They're going to use the battle bus as well, and probably the two strongest vehicles in the game. And honestly, you could consider them weapons because these things just plow through players left and right.
Yeah, they will make quick work of anybody that they can get an angle on, but the angle is a little tricky, right? You can see them, they place their tank up on this hill, so they will have to kind of maneuver around the hill to actually get any angles where they can utilize that tank cannon, and it's very, very tricky. As you can see, Cammy not being too happy about how hard it is to use that, but you know, he's pretty safe up there. As are Bad Sniper and DKS. Actually, it's just Bad Sniper hanging out in this tank. I am not sure where DKS is. Usually they do have 2 vehicles, as Bad Sniper lands a nice shot there, and yeah, DKS is just close by in the truck of his own. Noah Riley, though, absolutely dominating in the elimination feed.
That was wild. Like, literally, I just look up in the corner and all I see is no Riley, no Riley, no Riley, no Riley. So it's like, what is happening, man? But listen, we know if there's any player that knows how to get eliminations in this lobby, it's no Riley. Probably one of the strongest fraggers on all of the Europe region, showing why they're something special. And Vidil, the teammate, jumping on Cammy and Seti. They were definitely not expecting this. They're going to have to drop the tank down. No Riley, though, down to 8 HP in a dream. Cammy and Seti still looking relatively healthy, but no, as I say it, the tank blows up. They are weak, but no, they stay alive. They somehow stayed alive. Another team actually picked up Vidil and Noah Riley as they tried to get away.
And we said it before, man. Deal and Noah Riley, they just can't control themselves. Like, you know, we saw them make a rotation with the Rift to go, a defensive play shortly after they were safe, they were chilling out, then all of a sudden they're popping off the inland feed, and they're like, listen, momentum, just go, go, go. And they Rift to go on a tank, man. Like, oh my goodness. You love to see the aggression it creates for some great action, but you have to think, like, they have so many eliminations, they were probably in a good spot, and then they just decided to full send on a tank. Now listen, if that play would have worked out a little bit faster and they did pick up that elimination on Seti or Cammy, then yeah, I think they would have been in a great position, because if we're looking off in the distance, Seti and Cammy in a great position up on that hill. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Noah Riley and Vidil out of it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I want to I want to point this out, Vivid. Last time we were in a 5th zone, there was 2 teams remaining. Now look at Europe. 17 teams, just under 30 players still in this lobby, and DKS actually has gone down. But Bad Sniper should be able to get his teammate back into the game. He's going to defensively push some of these other players off with the vehicle, but no, Refsguard on the HUD drove right by DKS. That was actually extremely risky for Bad Sniper and DKS, but Refsguard actually gets away, and it does look like Bad Sniper's going to be able to blow that up as he rotates. So that vehicle's going to be out, but now is his chance to get DKS back in the game. He needs to focus on making sure that his teammate is here, alive and well, just like Babacola and Keneal, who are alive and well, and now have a really nice refresh there.
Yeah, and Cammy and Seti, you know, they no longer have that tank, but they are still on the higher ground here, so they are going to be making some plays, kind of raining down some damage, but no, they weren't feeling too comfortable with that position anymore, so Seti and Cammy are going to use that Rift to go, and they're just going to be floating up. And this is what I was talking about earlier. There's so much chaos going on actually on the ground where none of these players really have the time to look up, so Cammy and Seti are going to be very, very safe up there, but eventually they are going to have to come down, so picking a position in these lobbies is important. Hopefully they can pick a good one as we tune into Steno over here in the truck, and a lot more vehicles than we saw in the MENA region for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, it's just the difference in time taken to truly understand the best ways to strategize for a game mode like this, because Zero Build is in its infancy, right? This is a brand new mode brought to Fortnite here this season, so players are still adapting, but the quickest region, of course, Europe, adapting to this situation very fast, and that's why we see players that we always know on the top of the leaderboard, Cammy and Seti here, holding it down, getting elimination after elimination with the tank. This is huge. 6 eliminations on the board, and they are setting themselves up for success, taking out every other vehicle remaining. Stenmo now goes down. Keneal in the fire. Magically, and Moz, though, up on the high ground. They do take out Moez. Oh man, this is tough. Magically going to try to hit the shockwave back and forth, but 1 HP. Seti says, no, I'm denying this. Takes out Magically, and now it is a 2v2.
The 2v1, actually, I think Steady is actually down. So Lush here down as a solo to do it alone. Seti and Cammy comfortable in the tank, but not making it easy on them at all. Seti only has 65 HP. He could go down very quickly if the shots are landed, but no, not many shots are landing. 11 HP left for Atlantic here. He somehow is still alive, but no, Seti and Cammy. There you go, an 11 elimination victory royale. Panda, how the heck did they get another tank? We saw them up on the hill. Their tank got destroyed by Noah Riley and Vidil. Then they're chilling up there. They pop the Rift to go, and we were talking like, you know, when they land, they got to find a good position. No, they don't have to find a good position. They somehow land in a fresh tank. How did that happen?
I don't know. Well, listen, we talked about how teams adapt very well. Cammy and Seti are probably the top team when it comes to researching and understanding whatever meta